What's up, everyone? This is Red Dragon. I am just making a mess today. Having fun, pissing people off in the garage. No, that's not what I'm doing. But I am getting effed up, right? On some milk. Out here in the garage today making some stuff. I just went ahead and put the bed back in here. It was out for 3 days, and it gave me 3 days to build those other things on my other YouTube videos. You can check out on my channel, like the propane tank mount, the hand truck to the propane tank mount, the heat reclaimer. Every day, I seem to be making something else to make this camper setup. So thank you guys for joining me on my quest to see what a CRV camper looks like, right? So the 18-inch, if you guys have been following along on my videos, the 18-inch Zenith Casey bed is awesome because in the second gen CRV, the fender well is about 17 to 18 inches high. And this bed fits because right here we were able to condense about an inch of space because the bed is supposedly 54 inches wide, but we have 53 inches to play with. And on a side note, I just checked out. I've got a first gen CRV here too. It measures 52 inches from side to side. So something like this might be feasible in a first gen CRV. I can pop that. This bed in the first gen CRV to see if it fits. The first gen CRV does not have 18-inch fender wells. They're like 4 inches tall, so that's really cool. But this is what I'm working with now and what I'm working with today. So when I built the bed up last time on one of my last videos that you guys saw, I hopped in here this way through the back and was able to fit all the way in there. And I'm a big guy at 6'1". And then my girlfriend hopped on this side. I didn't know she was going to, but she just went ahead and hopped in there with me. And what I had found was really, it seemed like we were kind of up toward the top. We were up really kind of laying on the ceiling, if you will, with these 18-inch bed legs, which is super tall. And so she was experiencing some claustrophobia. Now, I was fine. I don't really have claustrophobic issues going on. So I went ahead and climbed up in there. And I was on the ceiling as a big 300-pound guy at 6'1". It was a little bit uncomfortable, I will admit, kind of being up toward the ceiling. And I want to make this as comfortable as possible. So I set out today to try and find some more room here. See if I could carve out a couple of inches of space so it doesn't feel so claustrophobic, so it doesn't feel like we're sleeping on the ceiling, so we can turn around comfortably, from side to side or from our stomach to our back or, whatever the case. So this is confirmed to sleep 2 large, tall, heavy people. This is the first 2-person camper that I've seen. And today, I moved this bed in literally hundreds of different configurations. And this is what I've settled on. Probably over the last 3 or 4 hours, I've moved this bed around hundreds of times. And this is where I'm at now. This is my new and improved version of how I want this bed to sit. The bed here sits exactly like it has been on my last 4 or 5 videos, so please check those out. The only difference, and the cool thing here also, check out one of my videos about the spare tire fitting back there in the spare tire reservoir. Because I made a propane tank mount out of a hand truck and a couple cylinder mounts. And that's the top of it right there. And so I couldn't put my spare tire on the back spare tire thing, and I wanted to lower the center of gravity, so I put the spare tire back here in the spare tire reservoir. It's in there right now. And here's the table. And so, like I mentioned on that video about the spare tire back here, the table is lifted up about 1.5 to 2 inches taller than it was on my last couple videos. So that ended up being just fine after I tested a bunch of stuff. This is fine that these cross. Those are still very stable. This leg is still over there. That's awesome. That one's still over there. Great. Stable. All of these are hooked up and fastened, so that's great. What I did here today, amongst other things, was I made the bed frame tilt downward toward the front of the car. One of the only ways that I could create more space in here to kind of limit claustrophobia or the feeling of claustrophobia was to reduce the amount of space for our legs, which actually gives us more space for our head. And if we're going to be sleeping up there toward the front of the car, which is the obvious choice to me with claustrophobia because of the sunroof and the large open windows. So, the middle is about the same as it was. It is bent down a little bit, as you can see, but not enough to actually notice after I put the mattress in there. I'm not going to be able to notice that tiny bend right there. All of these legs, there are 4 legs for the center of the bed. They are all touching the ground for a stable and sturdy platform. So we've got all 4 of these legs touching the ground, which is great. And toward the front of the car is where I really made the bed tilt downward, all right, to create more headspace where my fingers are and reduce the amount of space where our feet are. If I would have tilted the bed upward, then we would have had less space where our head is and more space where our feet are. So that's what I've done, was tilt the bed in here. And as you can see, there's a lot more room. I would imagine probably 6 inches or so. And in this small of a space, 6 inches is actually huge. And I've got the sunroof open there, so that's going to kind of limit claustrophobia, and we can open that. I'm going to put a screen over that and lay it down. Lay the screen down with some magnetic tape so we can keep that open. I think that'll be great for, just not feeling confined in the car. If you guys have followed the last videos, last time the bed seemed to be just about up here. Looks like maybe a good 6 to 8 inches there I was able to save. And on this type of a system that I've created where I've made the bed flat but go downward, right, toward the front of the car, that means that if I want to lay flat, then I'm going to have to park on an incline with the front of the car inclined the most. So right now my car is parked on a decline, and all I've got to do is just repark here and park my car at an incline. And if I broke out a level, since the car is at an incline and the bed is at a decline, I would imagine the bed would sit just about level. But we also get more headroom right there. So, what I've done here with the sunroof was just put some straps. I need those anyway for carrying things, for snow chains, for everything on the road. I just cut out where the handle is so I could put the straps through there, and I cut out an area for the sunroof. So all I have to do is just kind of, trying to get this one-handed, just pull that through there, and that is done. I made a cutout for the light, made a cutout for the rear view mirror, and so the whole front here folds all the way back. And I only have one hand right now, but it folds back behind this strap to get out of my way when I want to drive the car here without the Reflectix insulation. So I've got to mention one last thing here. It worked out great with the spare tire down here in the spare tire reservoir. I even tried jacking up the bed, tons of different configurations. Didn't work as well as this. And the spare tire down here lifts up the bed 2 inches, which is why we can see it slopes downward from the center on each side. And that's just the way that the bed lays, extremely sturdy. But I'd imagine out here camping in such a tight space that we wouldn't want to be, the two of us wouldn't want to be, if the beds were sloped here like a V, then we couldn't really get away from each other. We'd be forced to snuggle, which is, just fine. But in such a small space, if there's condensation, if we're warm, I like this idea better, where the bed slopes down from the center, and when we're sleeping, we're actually going to be kind of tilted toward the outside, toward the windows, which I think is really going to be more comfortable and a little bit cooler for me sleeping. I sleep warm, so I think that's going to be the best bet for me. Now, when I want to put this back up, I just slide it on in there, and that is back. If I want this open, and just pull it, and now the sunroof is open. And I tuck it back there, but I only have the one arm right now. These are my airtight containers. The bed is kind of sitting on those, but the bed is mostly resting on the seat, on both of the seats. So that's where the bed is getting a lot of structural integrity from the front of the bed. I can't believe I've done this, because the front of the bed I've removed, well, I just tucked in the legs, so I'm not using the legs on the front end. And that is to create all of this glorious space right here where our heads are going to be. So I think that's an improvement. I think I'll go ahead and keep this set up until, or if I find another one that's better. If you guys like to make things better, more efficient, subscribe to my channel. If you guys want to find out what a CRV camper conversion looks like, go ahead and follow along on my saga, on the journey, and we'll try and figure out what's a cheap, efficient way to sleep 2 people in a Honda CRV that gets, upwards of 35 miles to the gallon. Alright guys, subscribe to my channel, and like if you like. Enjoy camping out there, guys.